also have a precept on washing up the word. The John 15:3.
And I look at this. Malachi 2:3. It's a lot of reading. So 3, 4. Say it again. What is Malachi 3? Chapter 3, verse 2 through 4.
Okay. The book of Malachi, chapter 3 and verse 2. But who may abide the day of his coming? And who shall stand when he appeareth?
Right.
For he is like a refiner's fire.
He's like a refiner's fire, right?
And like fuller's soap. And he shall sit as a refiner and purifier of silver.
Right.
And he shall purify the sons of Levi and purge them as gold and silver, that they may offer unto the Most High an offering in righteousness.
Right. So we're gonna have to be cleansed, right? Before they can send up those offerings to the Most High. Right? Especially the Levites. It's very specific to the Levites right there. Because they have to be very clean for them to send up those sacrifices. Remember, we don't do that as the children of Israel. That's only the Levites' job to send up those sacrifices. Right? So go to let's get John 15:3. That's a good precept.
Speaking of what you just said, like Aaron, before they offer a sin offering, they have to offer a sin offering for themselves.
Yes, fine, exactly. Right, because they got to make sure that any blood guiltiness they have on their hands, they got to make sure their hands are clean. So they got to send up sin offerings for themselves.
The book of John, chapter 15 and verse 3.
Right.
Oh, let me start with 2. Verse 2. Every branch in me that beareth not fruit, he taketh away. And every branch that beareth fruit, he purges it.
Right.
That it may bring forth more fruit.
Right.
Now ye are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you.
So that purging process is all about cleansing, renewing your mind, renewing your spirit. Right? It's all about cleansing. Right? It talks about, it says he purged it that it may bring forth more fruit. Right? You can't bring forth more fruit unless you have been cleaned already. Right? As a servant of the Most High, you can't go out. That's why scriptures talk about getting yourself in order first before you go out on the street. Right? Right? Because at that point you become a Pharisee, and you don't want to become a Pharisee. Right? But at the end of the day, you repent for your sins, convert your mind, convert your spirit, then you go gather the children of Israel. Right? So, because I want to address the spirit of judgment. Let me look at it 1 second. Start with 6.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 16 and verse 6.
Right.
And when I passed by thee and saw thee polluted in thine own blood, I said unto thee, when thou wast in thy blood, live. Yea, I said unto thee, when thou wast in thy blood,
now listen to what it's saying. It said when we were in our blood, he said to live. What does that mean? How do we live according to the scriptures? How do we come back to life? What you got? Keeping the commandments. What scripture is that? I need proof. Prove all things.
Deuteronomy 28:15.
Deuteronomy 28:15.
14:15.
What is it?
John 14:15.
If you love me. Let's look at get John 4. Let's look at that 1 second. Yeah, that's Christ. I know if you love me, keep my commandments. I want to see the second part. Not necessarily, right? It says when you were in the blood, I said live. How do we come to life? How do we live after we're in the blood?
After we're in the blood.
Right? How do we live? Repent.
John 6:62. The word is written in the blood.
No, I couldn't get that. That's not the one I'm thinking of, but let's get that. John 6:62.
The book of John, chapter 6 and verse 63.
Mhm.
It is the spirit that quickeneth,
Right,
the flesh profiteth nothing.
right,
The words that I speak unto you,
right.
they are spirit
And they are what?
and they are life.
They are life. So when we talk about coming back to life, we gotta start living by these words.
What was that, John?
John 6 and 63. Right? They are, it says the words I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. When we talk about coming back to life, because we were once polluted, we were once in the Christian church, we were once Jehovah wickedness, right? We were once in the streets doing all type of crazy stuff. Right? But it said when you was in the blood, I said live. Give me Baruch chapter 4 and verse 1. When we talk about life and death, let's see how the Most High said live.
Book of Baruch, chapter 4 and verse 1. This is the book of the commandments of the Most High,
Right?
and the law that endureth forever.
Right?
All they that keep it
All they that keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Read on.
shall come to life.
Shall what?
Shall come to life.
This is what it's talking about. It says, when you were in that blood, I said live. That's why we have to go to the children of Israel right now. Right? Keeping the law, statutes, and commandments tell them to live. Right? Because you were in that blood. So what is that blood speaking about? When it talks about you were covered in blood, and I told you to live, what is the blood? That's sin. It's the same thing, right? Those two words in Isaiah chapter 4 and verse 4, synonymous. Blood guiltiness, sin, iniquity, transgression of the law. When we go out to the street and we speak the words of the Lord. That's what we're doing to the children of Israel. We're telling them to live, right? So let's go back to Isaiah chapter 4.
So here's might be a dumb question, but how is that blood different from the blood that they put on their doorposts to protect them from the death they would do? Because I thought about the blood as being protected from the time, but if the blood.
But there's different uses for blood. So when we talk about blood, is it specifically talking about physical blood in this sense right here? Go back to Isaiah chapter 4, let's see.
Isaiah chapter 4 and verse 4.
Right?
When the Most High have washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion, and shall have purged the blood of Jerusalem from the midst thereof.
Shall have purged the blood. Remember, we just talked about what purging does. What are you purging? You're cleansing, right? Read on.
Mm-hmm. Purge the blood of Jerusalem.
What are we supposed to purge ourselves of? Sin. It's just a representation. That's all it's talking about. Read on.
From the midst thereof, by the spirit of judgment.
By the spirit of judgment. This is how he's going to cleanse us of our sin. All these people that are living wickedly, all these people that are amongst Israel, they're still out here in the streets, right? These people have to be purged from among children of Israel. And let me prove that. Give me Ezekiel chapter 20 and verse 32.
Okay.
Chapter
Quick thing. When you go to Exodus 12, and you talk the lamb that they introduced, it's a lamb.
Right, so that's why I don't want to go too deep into that, but that blood is being used. Remember, when they sacrifice, they need blood. Right? Exactly. They use that blood. So there's different uses for blood of lamb. Right? You talk about shedding man's blood, right, which is a sin according to the Bible. All right. So read what you got.
So 20.
Start at verse 32.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 20 and verse 32. Which cometh into your mind shall not be at all.
Right.
That ye say, we will be as the heathen, as the families of the countries, to serve wood and stone.
To do what?
To serve wood and stone.
All right. So we're going into what this purging process does. Right. Getting these people out from among you that serve wood and stone, being as the heathen. Right. Having these philosophies and doctrines in your head about white Jesus and a white Christ and a white God and white angels, white babies playing in the streets of heaven, right? Purging those things out of your mind. Let's see how he's going to do it, right? Hold on, but I got you.
Verse 33. As I live, said the Most High Power.
Right?
Surely with a mighty hand
Right?
and with a stretched out arm
Right?
and with fury poured out
Right?
will I rule over you.
Mm-hmm.
And I will bring you out from the people and will gather you out of the countries wherein ye are scattered.
Right?
With a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out.
Right?
And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face.
Right?
Like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
So will I plead with you, saith the Most High Power. And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant.
Right?
And I
What
will
covenant is that talking about, by the way? The new covenant. Right? That's how you know we're not, because you have a lot of Israelites out here saying we under the new covenant right now. But you know we're not under the new covenant because we still have to go out and teach the children of Israel. People are still in the streets doing wrong, and they don't have a clue that they're being in the wrong right now, that they're transgressing against God.
Yeah.
There's still people that are godless, fearless, right? They don't fear the Most High. We live in a godless generation, right? So that's how you know. Scriptures say when we don't have to teach and it be placed in the minds and the hearts of the people, that's when we under the new covenant. This is what it's talking about. After those people are purged out, we're going to be under that new covenant. So there's two purges, right? Read on.
And I will purge out from among you
Right?
the rebels,
Right?
and them that transgressed against me. I will bring them forth out of the country wherein they sojourn,
Uh-huh.
and they shall not enter into the land of Israel.
Right?
And ye shall know that I am the Most High.
Right? So the Most High said, even amongst the children of Israel, those rebels got to be purged. Right? What you got, brother?
To coincide with what you just said about the new covenant, Jeremiah 31, 33 and 34.
Jeremiah 31.
Jeremiah 30, I'm sorry, Jeremiah 31,
Uh-huh.
33 and 34.
Come on. Yeah, let's get that for a second. Not to go out, I don't want to go off on a tangent, but come on, we'll get there. All right, start at verse 33. Jeremiah 31 and 33.
Jeremiah chapter 31 and verse 33.
Right?
But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel.
Uh-huh.
After those days, says
Right.
the Most High,
Right?
I will put my law in their inward parts,
Mm-hmm.
and write it in their hearts,
Right?
and will be their power, and they shall be my people.
He said we're going to write it in our hearts. Right? Read on.
And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor.
We wouldn't have to be in the streets.
Amen.
The children of Israel, all these brothers that's in the four corners of the earth right now, we wouldn't have to be in this under the new covenant. You wouldn't have brothers out here selling drugs and prostituting these women if we were under the new covenant. All right, read on.
And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor, and every man his brother, saying, Know the Most High.
Right, so we won't have to teach them to say, know the Most High, keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Right, so let's go back to Isaiah chapter 4.
Book of Isaiah, chapter 4, and verse 5.
Right.
And the Most High will create upon every dwelling place
Uh-huh.
of Mount Zion, and upon her assemblies, a cloud and smoke by day.
No, go back to the verse before. Slow.
Isaiah 4, verse 4. When the Most High shall have washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion,
Uh-huh.
and shall have purged the blood of Jerusalem
Right,
from the midst thereof by the spirit of judgment
right.
and by the spirit of burning.
So this is how he's going to get rid of that blood, right? So we know this can't be talking about physical blood. You don't get rid of physical blood by judgment, right? You can't get rid of physical judgment, right? When we talk about judgment from the Most High, right? These are punishments. This is what it talks about when we go back into that wilderness, that they shall be purged, right? These are judgments that are given by the Most High. Who shall judge the earth? Right? Who's going to judge the earth? Christ. And who else? Most High. Who else? The angels. Yes. Who else? Get 1 Corinthians 6 and 2. I hear a lot of things. Okay, let's see. New covenant. Yes.
So that's when we logged in the line.
Absolutely. So there's people out here teaching that we are under that new covenant already. You have Israel schools that teach we are not under the covenant of the old covenant. They teach that we're under the new covenant.
Right, but didn't Christ tell Paul to hear him or something? Because Christ used Paul, and Paul was like going, what Christ said, and said, I can get the verse more than that.
Right.
That's why I'm kind of confused. The reason why I'm asking you this is I don't really understand what you're saying when you say something about a new covenant. I know that we have the laws in our mind when we took it out of the place. But when you say that people are teaching about the new covenant today, I know Christ told Paul, that he was the leader or something of this.
I'm trying to
So
understand.
how to get in verse,
Okay,
anyway,
go
what
ahead.
I'm trying to say is that Christ, Jesus is Christ.
Yeah. So you're saying that we're under the new covenant?
I ain't saying, I don't want to say nothing about getting the verse, but
Right.
I'm saying we're to follow Christ. You follow to Christ, and always follow Christ.
Absolutely.
Right?
Did,
So whatever Christ is saying, that's what we're supposed to follow.
did Christ preach the law, statutes, and commandments?
Yes, he did.
Absolutely. So it's the same thing. They try to separate the two. That's the thing. Separate. Remember, Christ. Why did Christ come to the earth? To do what? To fulfill. What does that mean, though? Right? To fulfill what was written. He had to send this. He had to send somebody down here to show them how to live by the law. There were certain people that were being over righteous, like the Pharisees, right? They're talking about people not praying, not washing their hands before they eat. He had to like that's traditional men. What are you talking about? That's not in the law, right? So he had to send somebody down here to show the children of Israel how to live by the law, statutes, and commandments, because people were perverting it, people were abusing it, right? And I don't want to go off. I don't want to go off on a tangent because I know how this works. Like new covenant, there's a new covenant and an old covenant. There's two covenants, right? First Testament, New Testament, whatever, right? Two covenants. We will not be under the new covenant until we go back into the land of Israel. It just said that in the book of Ezekiel chapter 20, and we talked about in Jeremiah chapter 31. We won't have to teach the children of Israel. Remember, when we're purging these people out, that means we're still teaching people. Like, you can't be doing this. The children of Israel are going to be purging those people out, right? Give me a 1 Corinthians 6.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 6 and verse 2. Do ye not know that the saints shall judge the world?
Who are the saints according to the Bible? The Israelites, right? Very simple. The Israelites. We shall judge the earth, right? Along with the Most High, along with Christ, along with the angels. Remember, we are in connection. We all on the same team. The angels got our back, right? The Most High got our back. Christ got our back. Remember, Christ is our brother. That's our older brother. That's it, right? We all on the same team here. So read that again.
Do ye not know that the saints shall judge the world?
Right.
And if the world shall be judged by you, are ye unworthy to judge the smallest matters?
Right. So if we are the judges of everybody understand that who the saints are according to the Bible, right? Everybody understand it? I don't have to go into the scriptures for that, right? So let's jump back.
Yeah.
Isaiah's on 4. Isaiah 4.
Isaiah chapter 4, verse 4. Shall have washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion.
Right.
He shall have purged the blood of Jerusalem from the midst thereof by the spirit of judgment and by the spirit of burning.
So remember, being clean. When we talk about purging out the blood. What is blood according to the Bible? Sin, blood guiltiness. Right? This is something you did. Adulterers, fornicators, murderers, drunkards. All of these people, they have blood on them. Sin, guiltiness. Right? He talks about he's going to purge these people by what? The spirit of judgment. Right? That's how he's going to purge these people. Right? So I've heard the doctrine where they say, oh, when we go back into the land that, purge women of them not being able to do that, like, have their monthly, right? Whether that happens or not, can that be proven with that scripture when you go into the Hebrew? No. That's a reach. Right? When you go into the Hebrew, matter of fact, let's get that. I didn't go into the Hebrew. You said, right? got to make sure that we really dissect each word, what it's talking about. All right? All right. So there's a couple of definitions. Read these, the translations first, and go into the Strong's definition.
Strong's definition. The word blood says here, blood, bloody person, blood guiltiness,
Blood guiltiness, read on.
bloodthirsty, blood. And the strong definition, it says here, it says blood as that which, when shed, causes death
Right,
of man or an animal.
right,
By analogy,
right.
the juice of the grape
So here's, that's the second definition.
can
Blood of a man, juice of a grape, wine, right? Read on.
frigatively, especially in the plural, bloodshed,
Bloodshed, read on.
i.e. drops of blood, blood, guiltiness,
Blood guiltiness, read on.
thirsty, innocent.
Right. So we have to apply that rightfully to that scripture, right? So remember when it talks about that spirit of judgment. Spirit of judgment is made. What is judgment made for? You said what? Correction and rebuke. Correction and rebuke. That's what that is made for, the spirit of judgment. That's how that blood, the sin, blood guiltiness, shall be cleaned from the children of Israel. So that's what that's talking about. Now, when we start going into other things like, saying that we're going to be doing this and doing that, that's not in the scripture. That's not there, right? And I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes about their teaching. I'm telling you what I just found in the scriptures, what we go through, right? Broken down word by word. Which lesson?
Do we go by Hebrew? Do y'all use Hebrew too?
Absolutely.
So why would it say in Zephaniah 3 and 9 that God will give us pure language?
Up here, when we return back to the language, he has to return us back unto our heritage. A lot of people, so for example, they ask, why don't we go out and teach Hebrew? And like, you're so, like, you say you're holier than thou. Why don't you teach in Hebrew? Everybody's not going to understand that. It says in a stammering tongue, we shall tell the people.
Right.
Now, when they come,
when we go out here,
yes,
he's going to return us a clear language and clear speech.
a clear language.
Zephaniah 3 9, that's what that's talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. There's nothing, I mean, that's not to say that we can't go by the Hebrew that this Bible was written in. Remember, you got to study to show thyself approved. Everything that's, so even when we talk about, let me think of an example. Because there's words in the scripture that don't mean what it means in the English. Virgin is a perfect example.
Yeah.
The word virgin, right? That's a perfect example. That just means a woman that can get married of age, right? The world teaches us that by the English word, that is what? A woman that never laid down with a man, right? But that's not, you got to go into the Hebrew and the Greek and really look at what these words mean. And look at them in context, right? Look at them in context. Break these words down. Meditate on the scripture. Remember, when our forefathers, we're going to read that in a portion. Remember, our forefathers, when they used to just hang out and chill, what did they do? They went into the field by themselves to meditate on the law, right? Because it's easy to get
Teach you though, if you understand if you don't know certain things. Because I never read anything about the blue letter or anything.
absolutely. Give me let me look at Sirach. I think it's 42.
What are you trying to find, Captain?
Hold on one second. I just one second. Let me see. So your question is, let me make sure the question, I have it right. Your question is, does the Most High give understanding?
No, like, when you say the Strongs and all that,
Yeah.
you're saying that means different meanings from what it's saying in the Bible? Or
Right.
something different?
Because we don't know, do we know how to read Hebrew? Matter of fact, give me the monologue of Sirach, right? The monologue of Sirach. There's a reason why, do you understand why we pray in the Hebrew to the east? Right? There's a reason why we send up the prayer. We don't just do that in vain. right? There's a reason why we speak Hebrew. Sometimes you'll see the brothers will salute each other in the Hebrew, right? And I'm going to show you why. The monologue is right. You might have to look for it a little bit up. So it doesn't have a verse, but it's in the monologue. You might have to find it a little bit, but it is. You got it? Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
So, what the next one is the ones that are in English.
Salaki, I'm gonna give it 1 second.
Oh, so uniform, let me treat you to be
Read that from the top. Con.
Oh, okay.
Con.
All right. This is Sirach.
Right?
This is page 70. It's
So this is in your apocrypha. This is in the monologue of Sirach, right? The problem is it doesn't have a verse in a
Yeah.
chapter. It's given a description of what's going on in this part. Was our language defiled? The English, our tongue was taken away from us. Absolutely. That's why we go back to the Hebrew. That's why we go back, because our language has been defiled, right? So I'm gonna prove it to you. Read what you got.
it's gonna be like towards the middle of the second paragraph. It says, wherefore, let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention.
Right? So read it with favor and attention. Don't just read it and just go over it. Some of these things you gotta go back and look at what it's actually saying. Right? Read on.
And to pardon us, wherein we may seem to come short of some words,
Right?
which we have labored to interpret.
Right. So we labor to interpret some of these words in the scriptures. We labor to keep reading.
For the same things uttered in
For
Hebrew
the same things uttered in Hebrew, read on.
and translated into another tongue,
The same things uttered in Hebrew and translated to another tongue, right? The English language, the Spanish language, Creole, right? All of these things, read on,
have not the same force in them.
have not the same force in them. So that's why you see a lot of times, that's why I encourage you, go back, look at the Hebrew. Go back and understand what that word is actually, what it means, right? Sometimes it'll tell you in the Hebrew tongue whether that word is talking figuratively or it's talking literally. Sometimes it'll give you the whole definition, and then that's when you apply the context, right? Remember, we got to online. Here a little and there a little. There's a way you read the scriptures. Right? That's why we send up our prayers in the Hebrew. That's why when you send up blessings or curses, right? That's why you send them up in the Hebrew, right? With the frankincense burning. Because we know that the frankincense carries up our prayers to the Most High. All right?
There's more on that too.
Yeah, keep reading.
And not only these things, but the law itself and the prophets
Right?
and the rest of the books.
No, hold on. Go back. Let's go over that slow. Right? Read that from that part again.
And not only these things,
Right? So it says the same things uttered in another tongue have not the same force in the Hebrew. Right? It says not only these things, read on.
but the law itself
But the law itself, the things that are made laws, read on.
and the prophets
And the prophets, the things that prophets were saying, what Isaiah was saying, Paul was saying, read on.
and the rest of the books.
In the rest of the Bible. In the rest of the Bible. That's why you have to go back and look at that tongue. You have to go back. There's a reason why King James, he put the spirit on King James to translate his Bible in the first place. All of these things happen for a reason. Right?
Perfect example, like in the Ten Commandments, it says, in the English it says, thou shalt not kill.
Right, exact kind, perfect example.
Right? The Hebrew, thou shalt not murder.
Right, that's a perfect example. Right, when you go to the Hebrew for thou shalt not kill, right? How, think about this. The Ten Commandments says thou shalt not kill.
Yeah.
Then he tells Israel to go out and slaughter millions of people. Now, if you don't understand the Hebrew, you will be utterly confused. Then you will be confounded. It's like, God, you just told me don't kill nobody, but then you're telling me to go kill nations of people. It said, thou shalt not murder. Murder and killing somebody is two different things, right? Murder is when you take somebody's blood innocently. They did nothing to you, and I slaughter you just because I don't like you. Right? Now, killing, that's a different thing. Right? Killing, that's a different thing, because we know that the Most High kills. Right? Yeah. So we got to understand, we got to go back to that Hebrew and understand, break it down precept upon precept, line upon line. Really dissect those words, what it's saying. Because if you don't take your time, you will be confounded in this book. This book is not easy to understand. Remember, everybody wasn't given the understanding to understand this. Right? Exactly.
So, yeah, it actually said it in Matthew 19 and 18. It said, he said unto him, which Yahushua said, thou shalt do no murder.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a small version of the commandment. Exactly. So I said murder.
Right? Yeah. Right. So it was just repeating what he's seen in the Hebrew. Remember, now they're writing from the Greek. Right? They were writing in Greek in the New Testament. So now when he understands, he's looking in the Hebrew. Okay, now I'm gonna write it this way. This means murder. Yeah. Right? Same thing. It's a bunch of words like that. That's why you got to go back. You need the Strong's Concordance to break down this Bible. If you don't, you will be confused. I'm telling you right now. I'm letting you know that right now. All right. So let's go back to Isaiah chapter 4. We almost finished with this.
Isaiah chapter 4, verse 4. When the Most High have washed away the filth of the dust of Zion, and shall have purged the blood of Jerusalem from the midst thereof by the spirit of judgment and by the spirit of burning.
Cleaning that sin, purging that sin out by the burning and the judgment of the Most High. You know?
The Most High will create upon every dwelling place of Mount Zion and upon her assemblies a cloud and a smoke by day, and the shining of a flaming fire by night.
You know?
For upon all the glory shall be
what does that mean when it talks about that fire, that flame? What is that talking about in that cloud? How do we know where to go? When we were in the wilderness with Moses, how do we know where to go? What was leading us?
At night, we're conveyed by
You said what? Say that again.
Via the angels.
The Most High, via angels, via Christ, right? This is that light that was guiding us.
At night, my fire, my fire.
Right, we were being led by that same thing, so that same thing is going to happen. That's going to be placed in the kingdom of heaven. Right? We don't.
Verse 6. And there shall be a tabernacle for a shadow in the daytime from the heat, and for a place of refuge, and for a covert from storm and from rain.
Now, what is it talking about? Now we're going to have that protection. We're going to have a hedge around us. We don't have to worry about our enemies slaughtering us and killing us and oppressing us, right? Taking advantage of the children of Israel, right? Talking about that tabernacle, that shadow, right? It's going to be covering us from the rain. That rain is that destruction, right? We shall be covered from all of those things, right? So when we go into Isaiah chapter 4, we want to make sure that we dissect that thing out, word by word, because we don't want to be confused when we're reading the Bible. Go into the Strong's, download your Blue Letter Bible. And I know there's certain people at camps, they don't believe in the Blue Letter. They don't believe in the Strong's, which is why they don't have a lot of understanding. Right? Remember, we just read, and these are camps that read out the Apocrypha as well. The Apocrypha literally tells us the things that are uttered in another tongue, right? They don't have the same force when they're uttered in Hebrew. So we got to make sure we understand those things. All right. So do we have any questions about Isaiah chapter 4? All right. And I'll say this too. I mean, listen, like I said in the beginning, I know we're gonna have our disagreements on certain things, but we got to realize that we're the children of Israel, right? Everybody got to work out their own salvation. There's not one camp that is chosen, right? He's going to be gathering different groups from different camps all over this earth, right? Because every camp got wicked people. I'm telling you that right now. Every camp got wicked brothers. I heard some things being in the truth from different camps, including LOZ, right? And those brothers are no longer here. They kicked out the door. All right, because you're not supposed to tolerate that. When you see a certain type of sin that's reoccurring, especially if you're a soldier of the Most High, especially if you're out on the front lines. You know, you're putting other brothers at risk because you want the angels to be encamped around you, right? You going off in the street and them angels not protecting you. Guess what's going to happen with you and your brothers? That whole camp going to fall. All right, so we rely on those things. All right, so I know we might not have 100% agreement, but let's stand on the things that we can agree on. We agree who Esau is. We agree we have enemies, right? We agree about the Sabbath day. We agree that we are family. We agree that we have to keep the law, statutes, and commandments to enter the kingdom of heaven. Let's do it.
I was gonna say, because talking about the different camps and stuff, I was gonna say Ezekiel 11 verse 16.
Little sanctuaries. Yeah, let's get that out there. 52 and verse 8.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 52 and verse 8. Thy watchmen shall lift up the voice.
Who is the watchman? Israelites. The ones serving and teaching, the servants of the Most High. Thy watchman is going to lift up thy voice. Read on.
With the voice together shall they sing.
We're going to do that together. It doesn't say separately. Right? Read on.
For they shall see eye to eye.
They shall see eye to eye. What does that mean? That's telling you before we go back into the land, we weren't seeing eye to eye. There were certain differences that everybody couldn't understand. Right? We're going to be on one page, one accord, one agreement. Remember, when you read 1 Corinthians, the same thing was happening. Right? This is a repeat of history. Right? Matter of fact, let's get that. Finish on that. Read that from the top again. Let's get 1 Corinthians.
Isaiah 52 and verse 8. Thy watchmen shall lift up the voice.
Right.
With the voice together shall they sing.
Right.
For they shall see eye to eye.
When what?
When the Most High
brings again Zion into that homeland in Jerusalem, we're going to be on one page, one accord. Right? We're going to be one body. Right? We're building ourselves now, but we just can't get there because you got prideful brothers. You got brothers that got egos and things of that nature. Right? I tell brothers all the time, I'm not gonna stop congregating with you because you have a different Sabbath than me. You understand you're an Israelite? You out here doing the work. I understand what that takes. That's not easy. That's a sacrifice that needs to be made. If my brother's laboring, putting his life on the line, I got your back. And everybody should feel the same way in you. All right? Everybody should feel the same way. They are still Israelites and they are still your brothers. All right? So give me 1 Corinthians chapter 1. All right? We'll start at verse right, go to verse 11.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 1, verse 11.
Right.
For it hath been declared unto me of you,
right,
my brethren, by them which are of the house of Chloe,
right,
that there are contentions among you.
Right. Paul been writing about this back in the day. He said there's contentions among you. Right? What's this contention talking about? Let's see. Read on.
Now this I say, that every one of you saith, I am of Paul.
They saying, I am of Paul. Right? Read on.
And I of Apollos.
And he's saying, I am of Apollos. Right? This is similar to for different camps. This is exactly what's happening right now. Oh, you're a part of ISUPK. I'm a part of LOZ. No, I'm a part of IUIC. Right? I'm a part of One Body Yahushua. I'm part of Sakari. This is the same thing going on back in the day. Right? Read on.
And I of Cephas.
And I of Cephas. Read on.
And I of Christ.
And I am of Christ. Right? Read on.
Is Christ divided?
Is Christ divided? Is Christ divided? Are we supposed to be divided like that? No. La. Read on.
Was Paul crucified for you?
Right. Read on.
Or were ye baptized in the name of Paul?
Right. Read on.
I thank Yahweh that I baptized none of you.
You said, I thank God that I baptized none of you. Right? I thank God that I baptized none of you prideful brothers. Right? You're talking about it's only my camp's gonna make it.
Yeah.
Right? My camp's gonna devour your camp when we go into the wilderness. Right? You gotta understand, listen, really quick, Most High is not about numbers. Don't get it twisted. The Most High always dealt with people in small numbers.
Yep.
Right? What do you say? I take one from the field and two from the city. Right? He say many are called, but what? But few are chosen. He never dealt with big numbers. When they flooded the earth, who was there? Who made it out of that flood? 8 people, right? In the time of Lot. Out of that whole sea, who made it out? Right. Exactly. So we got to make sure we understand that. This is not about numbers. Don't be confused. Oh, they're big over there. They big. It's not about that, man. It's not about that, because you got to serve. First of all, you got to serve the Most High in truth and sincerity, man. All right. You got to be humble. You can't be prideful, right? That's a big thing in the Israelite community, right? Getting puffed up because you know this scripture. You puffed up because my camp going astronomically, right? Your camp now, I set a curse up on your camp. You going off, right? That's off. You got brother. You can't listen. One camp can't. You can't. They got to be separated like this. They got to be in different parts of the earth like this, because everybody needs to hear this word. All right. So finish off on that. Verse 14.
Verse 14. I thank Yah that I baptized none of you, but Crispus and Gaius.
Right. So I think the Most High I didn't have to deal with y'all. All right. So we want to make sure that we try to stay on that one page, right? Gather together, gather yourselves together, O nation not desired. That's what we do. All right. We try to put every aspect of the scriptures into play. Right? Unless it says otherwise, don't do it. Right? For example, sacrificing and things like that. We know that we don't sacrifice because we don't have the temple right now. Right? When we build that temple again, then we shall send those sacrifices up. But right now, Christ came back for that reason. Right? Christ had to die for that reason. So we have any question before we get started in the portion in the precepts? Right? How we are? Let's get on. So let me see. Let's start with the portion. The portion is going to be Genesis 23 and verse 1 to Genesis 25 and verse 18. So it's a short portion, it's not that long. All right. After we're done with that portion, we're gonna go over it. Tonight will be new moon, right? I'll go over more detail about that. All right, so we'll jump into the portion. Let's start Genesis chapter 23 and verse 1.
The book of Genesis, chapter 23, verse 1. And Sarah was 107 and 20 years old. These were the years of the life of Sarah. And Sarah died in Kirjath Arba.
All right, so Sarah died at 127 years old. All right. Who is Sarah according to the Bible? Who? Abraham's wife. Right? You know.
And Sarah died in Kirjath Arba, the same is Hebron, and the land of Canaan. And Abraham came to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her. Right? And Abraham stood up from before his dead and spake unto the sons of Heth, saying, I am a stranger and a sojourner with you.
Right, so Heth is one of the sons of Canaan, right? Sons of the Canaanites, because he's dwelling in that land. Remember, the Most High promised Abraham that he would give him the land of Canaan. All right, read on.
Give me a possession of a burying place with you, that I may bury my dead out of my sight. And the children of Heth answered Abraham, saying unto him, Hear us, my Lord. Thou art a mighty prince among us. In the choice of our sepulchres, bury thy dead. None of us shall withhold from thee in his sepulchre, but that thou mayest bury thy dead.
Right.
And Abraham stood up and bowed himself to the people of the land, even to the children of Heth. And he communed with them, saying, If it be your mind that I should bury my dead out of my sight, hear me and entreat for me to Ephron, the son of Zohar, that he may give me the cave of Machpelah, which he had, which is in the end of his field. For as much money as it is worth, he shall give it me for a possession of a varying place amongst you.
All right, so Abraham is telling the sons, right? He's saying, look, just give me a varying place for my wife, right? She has passed on. Whatever it costs, I'm willing to pay that money, right? You know?
Verse 10. And Ephron dwelt among the children of Heth. And Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham in the audience of the children of Heth, even if all that went in at the gate of his city, saying, Nay, my lord, hear me. The field give I thee, and the cave that is therein I give it thee. In the presence of the sons of my people give I it thee. Bury thy dead. And Abraham bowed down himself before the people of the land. And he spake unto Ephron in the audience of the people of the land, saying, But if thou wilt give it, I pray thee, hear me. I will give thee money for the field, take it of me, and I will bury my dead there.
Right, so why is Abraham saying, no, I want to give you this money, right? Why did he say that? He doesn't want to take it for free. There's a reason why. Why doesn't Abraham take this burial place for free? Right. Let me Ecclesiastes 7:7. Abraham's using wisdom. He's exercising wisdom at this point.
I want to be beholden.
Huh?
I want to be beholden.
Beholding.
Feel like he, because they did a favor for him, he later has to do a favor for him.
That's yeah, right. Yeah. 7:7.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, verse 7. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad.
You read it?
And a gift,
It says a gift, something that you don't have to pay for. I'm just going to give you a gift. Read on.
the start.
Right? You can't judge matters properly at that point. So he doesn't take gifts. He's not taking that gift. He's saying, whatever this various place is worth, I'm going to give you the money for it. Right? I'll give you the money. I don't want your gift. I don't want your free things. Right? Because he knows that destroy his heart. Destroy his mind.
I was trying to think when after they came back from the retrieving of land with the war,
Right.
he told the king of Sodom that he didn't want anything from him also, because else he would say that he made Abraham rich.
Right, exactly. Same concept. Right? The children of Israel knew that. You don't take gifts from people like that. Right? Especially strangers, because you get wrapped up in a situation, now you're gonna owe them.
Yeah.
That favor is gonna have to come back around. Right? You might need $50 one day, next week he's gonna say, I gave you that 50. I need a favor now. Right? So jump back to Genesis.
The book of Genesis, chapter 23 and verse 14. And Ephron answered Abraham, saying unto him, My Lord, hearken unto me. The land is worth 400 shekels of silver. What is that betwixt me and thee? Bury therefore thy dead. And Abraham hearkened unto Ephron. And Abraham weighed to Ephron the silver, which he had named in the audience of the sons of Heth, 400 shekels of silver, current money with the merchants.
Right.
And the field of Ephron, which was in Machpelah, which was before Mamre, the field, and the cave which was therein, and all the trees that were in the field, that were in all the borders round about, were made sure unto Abraham for possession in the presence of the children of Heth, before all that went in at the gate of his city. And after this, Abraham buried Sarah, his wife, in the cave of the field of Machpelah before Mamre. The same is Hebron in the land of Canaan.
Right.
And the field and the cave that is therein were made sure unto Abraham for a possession of a burying place by the sons of Heth.
All right, so Abraham bought a big burying plot for his wife. Right? It was very huge in a cave that had trees around. It was a very big place. All right. Look down to chapter 24.
Chapter 24. And Abraham was old and well stricken in age, and the Most High had blessed Abraham in all things. And Abraham said unto his eldest servant of the house, that ruled over all that he had, Put, I pray thee, thy hand under my thigh, and I will make thee swear by the Most High, the power of heaven and the power of the earth, that thou shalt not take a wife unto my son of the daughters of Canaanites, among whom I dwell. But thou shalt go unto my country and to my kindred, and take a wife unto my son Isaac.
Right, so why is he telling the servant only get a wife of my people? Deuteronomy 7:3. Remember, Deuteronomy 7:3 didn't even come in play yet.
Yeah.
We're still in the beginning of time. Right? This is how you know these laws, these statutes, they were established before these things were written. Right? What you got, brother?
You already go over Ecclesiastes 6 and 7 regarding the gifts spoiled. Surely a question.
Yeah.
The wife and man.
Yeah, we want all that content. Yes. Oh, yeah. So verse 5.
Verse 5. And the servant said unto him, perhaps the woman would not be willing to follow me unto this land. Must I needs bring thy son again unto the land from which thou camest? And Abraham said unto him, beware, that thou bring not my son thither again. The most high power of heaven, which took me from my father's house and from the land of my kindred, and which spake unto me, and that sware unto me, saying, unto thy seed will I give this land.
Right.
He shall send his angel before thee, and thou shalt take a wife unto my son from thence.
Right. So remember, the Most High said we're supposed to go outside of our nation because what? We had land.
Yeah.
We had land that was given to us by the Most High, and he didn't want that to be taken or inherited by other strangers or people. He wanted that to be kept between the nation of Israel. That's why Abraham is telling them, don't go over there.
Yeah.
You know, don't stay here and get the people that go back to where I'm from and get a sister from my tribe.
Is that also a time when if the brother has two brothers, one dies in war, he's married with a wife, kids, land. If he's dead, died in war, he marries
That wife, yeah. That brother's wife. Yep.
So that inheritance stays.
Exactly. Yep. He's supposed to say that, especially if she doesn't have kids. He's supposed to give that wife kids because somebody has to live in his brother's name.
Yeah.
Remove the reproach.
Right.
I was gonna say Baruch 4 verse 3, says, give not thy honor to another nation.
Come on, let's look at that. Yeah, come on. Because all of these things play into each other, you know what I mean? Like it constantly tells you that the Most High separated us. It constantly tells you don't go to the other nations. Stay amongst yourself, but stay amongst your people. When you start going outside, you trying to mix people, that's when you're going to start having a lot of issues. And that's exactly what happened to us. Now we're saying Pledge of Allegiance right from the first grade. We're pledging allegiance to this country, a country that raped, robbed, and murdered you. Your forefathers, and you saying, I'm in cahoots with this country. That's wicked, man. That's brainwashing. What you got?
The book of Baruch, chapter 4, verse 3. Give not thine honor to another,
Right?
nor the things that are profitable unto thee to a strange nation.
Don't give that to a strange nation. Keep that within your people.
Amen.
Always keep that within your people. You don't go outside of your nation away your inheritance, especially land. Land is very hard to acquire. Everybody understand that, especially in this land now. Houses, things of that nature, property, right? You let that be inherited by your people. It stays within the family. It doesn't go outside. Right? This is how Jewish people operate.
Yeah.
Where did they get that from? The Torah.
Yeah.
They read the Torah. The Torah specifically tells you do not go outside of your nation. And they knew this all along. But they just keep it on the low. They keep it quiet. They keep quiet about it. Yeah. Right? But we're vocal about it. We're going to look, we're not hiring your people. We're giving our own money, our own property to our people. And we're not sitting with you like that. Good precept, God.
Genesis 24 and verse 7. The most high power of heaven, which took me from my father's house and from the land of my kindred, and which spake unto me and sware unto me, saying, unto thy seed will I give this land. He shall send his angel before thee, and thou shalt take a wife unto my son from thence. And if the woman would not be willing to follow thee, then thou shalt be clear from this my oath. Only bring not my son thither again. And the servant put his hand under the thigh of Abraham his master, and swore to him concerning that matter. And the servant took 10 camels of the camels of his master, and departed. For all the goods of his master were in his hand, and he arose and went to Mesopotamia unto the city of Nahor. And he made his camels to kneel down without the city by a well of water at the time of the evening, even the time that women go out to draw water. And he said, O Yahweh power, My master Abraham, I pray thee, send me good speed this way,
Right.
and show kindness unto my master Abraham. Behold, I stand here by the well of water, and the daughters of the men of the city come out to draw water. And let it come to pass that the damsel to whom I shall say, let down thy pitcher, I pray thee, that I may drink. And she shall say, drink, and I will give thy camels drink also. Let the same be with she that thou hast appointed for thy servant Isaac, and thereby shall I know that thou hast showed kindness unto my master.
Right. So what is the servant saying right here? The servant is saying, whatever woman comes up to bring water out of this well,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna ask them for a drink. If she gives me water and water to my camels to drink, I know that this is the one for Isaac. Right? That's how he's showing the servant that who Isaac's wife will be potentially. Right? Read on.
Verse 15. And it came to pass, before he had done speaking, that behold, Rebekah came out, who was born to Bethuel, son of Milcah, the wife of Nahor, Abraham's brother, which her pitcher upon her shoulder.
Right.
And the damsel was very fair to look upon, a virgin, neither had any man known her. And she went down to the well and filled her pitcher and came up. And the servant ran to meet her and said, let me, I pray thee, drink a little water of thy pitcher.
Right.
And she said, drink, my lord. And she hastened and let down her pitcher upon her hand and gave him drink. And when she had done giving him drink, she said, I will draw water for thy camels also, until they have done drinking.
So there it goes. Right. Remember, he said, whoever comes up and do that, they give me a drink of water, and she does that to the camel. He didn't even ask for the camel drink.
Yeah.
She just said, I'll give you a camel something to drink as well. So at this point, he knows Rebecca is Isaac. Right? Come on. What you got?
This confirm what you had said earlier, that a virgin doesn't have to be is what they say.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, because it says a virgin,
right.
neither has
right, so it's two different, exactly, right.
And shows whether it's married.
Right, so a virgin is somebody that is of marital age. Right? She is of marital age, and then it says no man has laid with her. Right? Read on.
Verse 20. And she hastened and emptied her pitcher into the trough, and ran again unto the well to draw water, and drew for all his camels. And the man wondering at her held his peace, to wit whether the Most High had made his journey prosperous or not.
So he's still waiting, like, man, I said that if you come, give me a drink for the camel, right? He's still questioning at this point, right? Read on.
And it came to pass, as the camels had done drinking, that the man took a golden earring of half a shekel weight, and 2 bracelets of her hands of 10 shekels weight of gold, and said, whose daughter art thou? Tell me, I pray thee, is there room in thy father's house for us to lodge in? And she said unto him, I am the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Milcah, which she bare unto Nahor. She said moreover unto him, we have both straw and provender enough, and room to lodge in. And the man bowed down his head and worshiped the Most High.
Right, so now at this point, he just confirmed it.
Yeah.
She's giving me a place to stay as well. I know Rebecca's Isaac's wife for sure now. Read on.
And he said, blessed be the Most High power of my master Abraham, who have not left destitute my master of his mercy and his truth. I being in the way, the Most High led me to the house of my master's brother. And the damsel ran and told them of her mother's house these things. And Rebekah had a brother, and his name was Laban. And Laban ran out unto the man unto the well. And it came to pass, when he saw the earring and bracelets upon his sister's hand, and when he heard the words of Rebekah his sister, saying, thus spake the man unto me, that he came unto the man, and behold, he stood by the camels at the well. And he said, come in, thou blessed of the Most High. Wherefore standest thou without? For I have prepared the house and room for the camels.
He said, I'm giving you the house and I'm giving you room for the camels. Remember, he came with 10 camels. All right, read on.
32. And a man came into the house, and he ungirded his camels, and gave straw provender for his camels, and water to wash his feet, and the men's feet that were with him. And there was set meat before him to eat. But he said, I will not eat until I have told my errand. And he said, speak on. And he said, I am Abraham's servant, and the Most High have blessed me, blessed my master greatly. And he has become great. And he have given him flocks and herds and silver and gold and men servants and maid servants and camels and donkeys. And Sarah, my master's wife, bare a son to my master when she was old. And unto him have he given all that he had. And my master made me swear, saying, Thou shalt not take a wife to my son of the daughters of the Canaanites, in whose land I dwell. But thou shalt go unto my father's house and to my kindred, and take a wife unto my son. And I said unto my master, Perhaps the woman would not follow me. And he said unto me, The Most High before whom I walk will send his angel with thee, and prosper thy way. And thou shalt take a wife of my son of my kindred and of my father's house. Then shalt thou be clear from this my oath when thou comest to my kindred, and if they give not thee one, thou shalt be clear from my oath. And I came this day unto the well and said, O Yahweh, power of my master Abraham, if now thou do prosper my way which I go, behold, I stand by the well of the water, and it shall come to pass that when the virgin come forth to draw water, and I say to her, Give me, I pray thee, a little water of thy pitcher to drink, and she say to me, Both drink thou, and I will also draw for thy camels. Let the same be the woman whom the Most High have pointed out for my master's son. And before I had done speaking in my heart, behold, Rebekah came forth with her pitcher on her shoulder, and she went down by the well and drew water. And I said unto her, Let me drink, I pray thee. And she made haste and let down her pitcher from her shoulder, and said, Drink, and I will give thy camels drink also. So I drank, and she made the camels drink also. And I asked her, and said, Whose daughter art thou? And she said, The daughter of Bethuel, Nahor's son, whom Milcah bare unto him. And I put the earring upon her face, and the bracelets upon her hands. And I bowed down my head, and worshiped the Most High, and blessed the Most High power of my master Abraham, which had led me in the right way to take my master's brother's daughter unto his son.
Right, so he just explained the whole story on how he even came to this point. Right, he's telling the story about he's been sent by Abraham to find a wife for Isaac, and she did exactly what I asked the Most High to let her do, to show me that that's going to be his wife. All right, so he just broke all of that down for the family. All right, read on.
49. And now, if ye will deal kindly and truly with my master, tell me. And if not, tell me, that I may turn to the right hand or to the left.
Right.
Then Laban and Bethuel answered and said, The thing proceedeth from the Most High. We cannot speak unto thee bad or good. Behold, Rebekah is before thee, take her, and go, and let her be thy master's son's wife, as the Most High has spoken.
Right, he said, so because of all of this, he said, I can't deny you.
Yeah.
Right, he said, you asked the Lord for this, and exactly what you asked the Lord for, he provided it to you. So who am I to stop the will of the Most High? He said, take my daughter, please. You know?
52. And it came to pass that when Abraham's servant heard these words, he worshipped the Most High, bowing himself to the earth. And the servant brought the jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment, and gave them to Rebekah. He gave also to her brother and to her mother precious things.
Right, so why did he give something to the brother and the mother as well? You said what? Exactly.
Yeah.
Dowry. Right, so in the scripture, it always talks about how the man used to give something to the parents when he takes that daughter away from him. Right? Now we don't do that because they feel like, oh, you could just take, you know what it is. Right? No fathers around, the mothers are kind of loose or lax with the law. Right? But we know that that was a great thing. When you take a daughter away from the father or the mother, that was a very valuable thing that you're attaining. That's a very big help that you're getting. Right? Because it wasn't easy to raise a daughter. A daughter comes with a lot of work. Right? Matter of fact, let me prove that. Give me let's start right chapter 42.
The contributions that she makes towards the house.
Exactly, right. Start at, yeah, I think that's what I want. Yeah, start at verse 1.
The book of Ecclesiastes or Sirach,
Right,
chapter 42 and verse 9.
right,
The father waketh for the daughter.
right. It says the father waketh for the daughter. This is talking about the work that it takes to keep his daughter, to keep her on the right path, the right track. We don't,
When no man knoweth.
right? So a man's up in the house, everybody's sleeping, checking on the daughter, making sure she's okay, you protecting her. We don't.
And the care for her
Uh-huh.
taketh away sleep.
Then the care for her, care for that little girl takes away sleep, right? Because you know, according to the scriptures, a boy and a girl is raised different, right? There's a little more care that goes into that daughter because she's delicate, right? You have to raise her to be a wife, raise her to be on the right track when she get older. Read on.
When she is young,
Lest
she pass away the flower of her age.
right, read on.
And being married, lest she should be hated.
Right, so you're doing these things so she be married, right? Until she pass away the flower of her age. Read on.
And her virginity, lest she should be defiled and gotten with child in her father's
Right,
house.
so you don't want that to happen, right? You don't want her to have a child in your house, right? So you gotta watch her and her virginity. These are things that the father did back in the days, right? Now we've been so indoctrinated by America and allowing these things to happen. Like we have strayed far away from the law, statutes, and commandments, right? You got young women in middle school who are giving themselves up to young men because what? They lack the proper guidance, right? They lack the proper education. No one has informed them of these things, how valuable they are, right? So right, when you have a father that's looking after his daughter, or even a mother that's looking after her daughter, it takes a lot of work. This is why a man used to give money to the parents to take her away. Because if you did the right job, he knows that he just gained an asset, right? Not a headache, not a problem, but an asset. You know that this woman is going to help you out, right? So you give money to the parents for everything that they've done. All right, so you could drop that. Go back. We have a lot, just to touch on that real quick, we have a lot of women who do that now, right? Having children in their father's house, right? Young women having children in their father's house, right? We hear the stories all the time, right? So these are things we want to avoid, things that we want to stop, right? Go ahead.
Book of Genesis, chapter 24 and verse 54. And they did eat and drink, he and the men that were with him, and tarried all night. And they rose up in the morning, and he said, Send me away unto my master. And her brother and her mother said, Let the damsel abide with us a few days, at the least 10. After that she shall go. And he said unto them, Hinder me not, seeing the Most High have prospered my way. Send me away that I may go to my master. And they said, We will call the damsel and inquire at her mouth.
All right, so now they're going to ask Rebecca, it's like, do you want to go with this man? Do you want to go to be married to Isaac? Right, read on.
And they called Rebekah and said unto her, Wilt thou go with this man? And she said, I will go. And they sent away Rebekah, their sister, and her nurse, and Abraham's servant, and his men. And they blessed Rebekah and said unto her, Thou art our sister. Be thou the mother of thousands of millions, and let thy seed possess the gate of those which hate them. And Rebekah arose and her damsels, and they rode upon the camels and followed the man. And the servant took Rebekah and went his way.
All right, so the servant just blessed Rebekah. He blessed Rebekah, saying, Thou art our sister, be thou the mother of thousands of millions. Right? That's a big blessing right there. Right? A great nation, a great people. People that's going to come out of you that shall be kings and priests and gods in the earth. Right? So that was a big thing that he gave. So that's our foremothers. We got to make sure we put that into perspective. How special our foremothers were, giving them the respect and honor that they deserve. All right. All right. Read on.
62. And Isaac came from the way of the well Laharoy, for he dwelt in the south country.
All right.
And Isaac went out to meditate in the field at the eventide. And he lifted up his eyes and saw, and behold, the camels were coming. And Rebekah lifted up her eyes, and when she saw Isaac, she lighted off the camel.
All right.
For she had said unto the servant, What man is this that walketh in the field to meet us? And the servant had said, It is my master.
All right, so like, I just want to go back really quick, because I said something earlier I wanted to touch on. But read verse 63 again for me.
Verse 63. And Isaac went out to meditate in the field at the eventide.
So we know that Isaac is a righteous man at this point. What is he meditating on? He's going out in the field by himself. Imagine that. You go out in the field and you're actually meditating on the scripture. That's a righteous man doing it. Right? He's taking the time out of his day. I'm going to go meditate on the law. Right? Because the scriptures tell us to meditate on the law. Right? Let's prove that. Give me Joshua chapter 1. Right? So remember earlier in the class, I said all of these things are written for our learning. Right? So if we see our forefathers doing this, this is what we should be doing, or at least striving to do. All right? I think is it one verse 8?
The book of Joshua, chapter 1, and verse 8.
All right. Go ahead.
This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night.
Right. Thou there shalt meditate day and night. Right? So this is some Isaac is showing you how this was done. You go in the field and meditate. Right? You got a question? Meditate, it means to think on, right? You dwell on that. So if I'm reading the scripture, it means that I'm reading it over and over again, and I'm thinking about it. Okay, how can I apply this better? How can I better myself? Right? So that's what it means to meditate. Keep it in your mind. Think about it. Right? That answer your question? Hallelujah. All right, so read that again, bro.
This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night,
Right.
that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein.
Right.
For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success.
Then thou shalt make prosperous and have good success. So we know Isaac was doing that. Right? He was fulfilling the law, statutes, and commandments at that point by meditating on what was given to him, the laws, right? The good things. So go back.
4:63. And Isaac went out to meditate in the field at the eventide, and he lifted up his eyes and saw, and behold, the camels were coming. And Rebekah lifted up her eyes, and when she saw Isaac, she lighted off the camel, for she had said unto the servant, What man is this that walketh in the field to meet us? And the servant had said, It is my master. Therefore she veiled and covered herself. And the servant told Isaac all things that he had done. And Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent, and took Rebekah, and she became his wife. And he loved her, and Isaac was comforted after his first death.
Right, so he made Rebekah his wife in the tent. Right, what did he do? He laid with her. Right. Really quick, why did she take that veil and cover her face when she seen Isaac? Humble. Right, show humility. Right, that's what she did. She know that was her husband to be. She said, I gotta show some shame, some humility, be humble when I come around this guy. Right.
And that's the same thing with people get married today, the wives of the same concept.
Right. So when you see, even when you talk about wedding ceremonies, that the traditional wedding ceremony in America, they take these things from the Bible.
Yeah.
Right. When you talk about walking your daughter down the aisle, you giving her away, right? You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. They get that from the scriptures. Remember, they studied the Bible too. That's how America was set up. The judicial system, they got that from the children of Israel. Right? So similarities everywhere. These people that have great infrastructures or great countries, right? Great kingdoms, you'll see that most of their system is set up from things that are in the Bible.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So we're gonna pause right there. We're gonna send up the 9th hour prayer. And we're gonna take our break. Are we up?
Hallelujah.
We'll stand up face to east. Yeah, come.
All right. We'll do Psalm 67, just repeat after me. The book of Psalms, chapter 67 and verse 1. Yahweh, be merciful unto us.
Yahweh, be merciful unto us.
And bless us.
And bless us.
And cause his face to shine upon us.
And cause his face to shine upon us.
Salah.
Salah.
That thy way may be known upon earth.
That thy way may be known upon earth.
Thy saving help among all nations.
Thy saving help among all nations.
Let the people praise thee, O Yahweh.
Let the people praise thee, O Yahweh.
Let all the people praise thee.
Let all the people praise thee.
O let the nations be glad.
O let the nations be glad.
And sing for joy.
And sing for joy.
For thou shalt judge the people righteously.
For thou shalt judge the people righteously.
And govern the nations upon earth.
And govern the nations upon earth.
Salah.
Salah.
Let the people praise thee.
Let the people praise thee,
O Most High.
O Most High.
Let all the people praise thee.
Let all the people praise thee.
Then shall the earth
Then shall the earth
yield her increase.
yield her increase.
And Yahweh,
And Yahweh,
even our own power,
even our own power,
shall bless us.
shall bless us.
The Most High shall bless us,
The Most High shall bless us,
and all the ends of the earth shall fear him.
and all the ends of the earth shall fear him.
Bahashem,
Hashem,
Hamashiach,
Hamashiach,
Yahushai,
Yahushai,
the water,
the water,
Yah,
Yah,
Amen.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
All right, so we'll take like a 30-45 minute break, get some food, and then when we come back, we'll talk about the new moon that we're going to be celebrating here tonight.
You know, after it's like we read this so much time, but sometimes some stuff jumps on you.